It's one thing to be a parent, to be an adult, and to be giving you information. It's another to hear it from the horse's mouth. Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Campbell. We all know there's a crisis of addiction in the United States now. The way to prevent the crisis from entering into the lives of those you love is to ground them in principles early in their life, and to do that you need knowledge. I'm going to offer you that knowledge from the perspective of a 9th grader, Natalie Sanders. Here are her 7 tips. Establish a working relationship with your kid. It sounds easy, right? Well, don't be surprised when your teenager would prefer to go out with friends, or more commonly spend time in their rooms locked up with a book or a TV show. Look, we're still figuring this whole life stuff out, and so are you. If you feel you need to read how to keep your kids off drugs, you're doing it right now. School isn't just emotionally and physically tiring. It latches onto your brain and drains you. Some days, the thought of any more human interaction after school makes us go on our own kind of insane. This will not, I repeat, will not be cured by any sort of questioning about how our day went. Sound familiar? And she goes on to say, trust me, if anything awesome happened at school, we would tell you. Instead, try to ease your way into a conversation by talking about things other than academics, or if your kid has a crush on that boy or girl, or why you look so tired. Talk about that awesome movie that people can't shut up about, she says, or how your coworker laughed so hard she had to lay down and count to 10, or something casual. Natalie goes on to say, try different starters and see what works. Any verbal response is a mission success. She says, teenagers are not going to be real with you if you are not real with them. So my advice is not to treat them like they hardly know anything or their issues aren't important. While still being a parental figure, look at any situation from all angles and try to put yourself in our position. This is Natalie talking. Once you have a casual conversation, then round back to things like school or relationships. Keep it real. Establish some wiggle room between the layers of heartfelt sarcasm and teenage angst that makes up your child sitting quietly in the passenger seat. Put your flag in it, like the astronauts did. Claim it's yours. This is your relationship. That is the start of everything. Next, Natalie says, anxiety and depression do some crazy damage. She says kids do irresponsible stuff like drugs and drinking. When they do get desperate, it's the gospel truth. So how do you keep your teenager from getting desperate? Good question. I guess we have to go back to that wiggle room of a relationship you have hopefully managed to establish. No one knows your kid like you do, so start noticing things. Are they eating? Are they sleeping too much? Or are they not sleeping at all? Are they having problems fitting in? Anxiety issues are common for teenagers, but sometimes it causes very real, very serious problems in everyday life. It can keep us shut off, glued to a textbook, or ignoring school entirely. Ask about how we are. When we give our vague, ambiguous answer of fine, ask us again. Maybe eye contact. Show us that you're genuinely concerned with our mental state. Show us that you recognize our problems are real, and see if there's anything you can do to help manage stress and other common problems. Do whatever you can to keep your child mentally and emotionally healthy, whether it be talking it out or just listening. She bold-faced the listening, by the way. Sometimes we don't want to talk about it. Sadly, not much can be done in this situation except to let them know that you're there for them and keep fighting for that little pocket of a relationship. It gets bigger and better with time and trust. Next, she says, be a parent. Now for the really hard stuff. How are you supposed to know how much freedom is too much? Or how much grace to extend when we mess up again? If only there was some scientific formula we could use. I guess you can only start with a few key notes and work your way up from there. Let kids have opinions. This one, she says, is pretty self-explanatory. Teens are figuring out who they are and what they believe in. Let them. Make your own opinions known and explain why you think that way, and don't force them to believe something. Natalie goes on. Give them resources. Step in when the child is about to do something you know can't end well. Put on your parent face and tell them firmly no. Tell them why you said no. Listen to their side of the story. Reiterate it. Repeat it. Your kid doesn't have all this figured out yet. Help them, even if they don't want to be helped. Here's Natalie again. Keep working on your relationship. She says, make that little space into a football arena. Fight and make up. Always make up. Try not to have loose ends. Remember that we're far from perfect, but we are trying. Show us that you are too. That was Natalie. That was a 9th grader. Take that message home and incorporate it into your own family dynamics. Thank you. This is Dr. Dave Campbell.